So we have some brand new reports about the firing of Kathleen Kennedy that's apparently imminent, and we have some reports about the Disney execs being extremely unhappy with the decision making by Kathleen Kennedy. We even have some reports that say that Disney is losing money on Star Wars, that they haven't even broken even yet on their purchase of Star Wars. And the Disney execs are finally coming around to see that it is Kathleen Kennedy's fault, that it's Kathleen Kennedy's faction's fault, that they're not making crazy amounts of money on Star Wars. Every single Skywalker Saga movie that ever comes out should make as much money or even more than The Force Awakens did. And the Disney higher-ups, Kathleen Kennedy's bosses, are starting to see that she is the reason why they're not making that money. Now, whether or not she'll be officially fired, it's very hard to tell, because people that are that powerful, people that are that connected in Hollywood don't usually get fired. They usually get promoted to some useless position, or they just keep their position and someone else is actually taking the reins. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case right now, if Kathleen Kennedy is just still the official president of Lucasfilm because of how powerful she is, because of how connected she is. While someone like Jon Favreau, it might not be Jon Favreau, but someone who understands Star Wars as much as Jon Favreau, is starting to run Star Wars. Because like I've said in past videos, all of these current events that are going on point towards Kathleen Kennedy not being the president of Lucasfilm anymore, and if she is, then she's had a major change of heart, then she's flipped the switch overnight. She's made so many decisions in the last few weeks that are contrary to her beliefs, and I just don't believe that Kathleen Kennedy would do that. She doesn't strike me as the person to go back on her word. She sticks to her guns, no matter how wrong she is. But let's get into these reports about Kathleen Kennedy being fired from Lucasfilm. So these reports, these scoops, these rumors, whatever you want to call them, are coming from Overlord DVD, and a lot of people get mad when I report Overlord DVD stuff, but every single time I say it's rumor, and he has been right in the past. Yes, he has had some reports, yes, he's had some scoops that were wrong, but what scooper doesn't have some that are wrong? Every single scooper out there gets things wrong. Sometimes it's about being right more than you're wrong, and I personally believe that Doomcock isn't lying in his videos, but you can decide for yourself. Let's get into these reports. So apparently Kathleen Kennedy casting Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Indiana Jones 5 is the last straw in the Disney execs' eyes, and it's not just because of the casting of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but it's because she was brought in to do script revisions for James Bond No Time to Die, and she ended up turning James Bond into a weakling, just like how they want all men to be portrayed. Ana de Armas, who's another actress that will be in the James Bond film, said in an interview that James Bond no longer wears the pants, confirming what we all believe to be true. So whenever Phoebe Waller-Bridge was announced for Indy 5, we all knew what was going to happen. And I know a lot of people out there are getting a lot of hate for hating on the casting of Phoebe Waller-Bridge just because she's a woman, just because she worked on the script for No Time to Die, but you have to understand what has happened to us in the last few years when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to people like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. There's nothing wrong with women being powerful in movies, there's nothing wrong with women being leads in Hollywood, but when it happens over and over again that men are being replaced with women, or the women in the story are being propped up while the men are being put down to make the women look more powerful, it happens over and over again, and we hate that stuff. But we don't hate that stuff because it's women being propped up. We don't hate that stuff because we hate women. We hate it because it takes away from the storytelling. We hate it because they put that first, and we saw it with Star Wars. We saw it in the Art of the Rise of Skywalker book. They put that first. They put that agenda first before the storytelling. The very first thing that they came up for the sequel trilogy is that it will be female-led and female-centric. And once again, there's nothing wrong with having a story that's female-led, but when you put that over the narrative, when you put that over the story, you put your agenda first, that's when people start having problems. And now when it's happened so many times, it's happened to us over and over again, when people like Phoebe Waller-Bridge get cast, we just assume what's going to happen. If this was just a random indie movie, a random project that nobody really cared about, not a big franchise, I'm sure no one would care that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is cast. But not only does Hollywood have a history of taking these large franchises and turning them into woke messes, but Indiana Jones is a Lucasfilm property, and Kathleen Kennedy is the queen of turning these big franchises into woke messes. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge has done this in the past, and Kathleen Kennedy damn sure has done this in the past, so it's kind of just double jeopardy. It's kind of confirmed at this point, so you can see where our anger is coming from with this casting. It's not because it's a woman. We don't hate women. It's just based on the fact, it's just based on the premise that history repeats itself, and it seems like it's going in that direction once again. But it also seems like the fans aren't the only ones who are mad at this. It also seems like the Disney execs are mad at this decision as well. The Disney execs are tired of Kathleen Kennedy making these decisions based on race, based on gender, based on sexuality. The Disney execs even want the storytelling to be in the forefront now. Apparently Indiana Jones 5 was delayed indefinitely, and Kathleen Kennedy was told not to cast anyone for the time being, and she went and cast a lead anyway. Overlord DVD source said there is most definitely moves being made, and Kathleen Kennedy may have just cut her own throat. The source also said that this is not the first time that she has gone over the Disney execs' heads for something like this. So according to the source, this is the last straw for Kathleen Kennedy. The Disney execs are tired of her. I just find it extremely hard to believe that everything we hear about Kathleen Kennedy is toxic, everything that we hear about Kathleen Kennedy is negative, and all of this is fake. Now don't get me wrong, some of these reports may be false, some of these rumors may be blown out of proportion. I'm well aware that all of this isn't gospel, but it seems like every single thing that we hear about Kathleen Kennedy is negative. Everything that we hear about Kathleen Kennedy and the culture that she's created is toxic. Once again, not saying any of this is gospel, not saying any of this is fact, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think the Disney execs are finally starting to see, unless they're blind, they have to be starting to see that Kathleen Kennedy isn't a good studio head. And let me tell you about the next report. Another Overlord DVD source says that Disney execs are tired of Lucasfilm execs losing money from the cash cow that was supposed to be be Star Wars. Apparently there's a $30 million net loss on Star Wars so far. Now I find this extremely hard to believe that they lost $30 million so far on Star Wars, but when I really went back and looked at it, it is possible based on the sequel trilogy numbers, based on the Solo numbers, because at face value you see The Force Awakens making $2 billion, you see The Rise of Skywalker breaking $1 billion. Even Rogue One did pretty well and Solo was the only flop. So how could you put out 5 movies and 4 of them break $1 billion and you're not breaking even yet on the Star Wars purchase? Well, for one, the box office numbers are not pure profit. I believe the number is something like you have to make 2.5 times the money that you put into the movie back just in order to break even on the movie being created. And for a franchise as big as Star Wars, I'm sure it's more like 3 times the amount that you put into the movie in order to break even on the film. So they're not really making all that much money on these Star Wars movies, but it's still hard to believe that they haven't broken even yet, because you have to think about Galaxy's Edge and all the Disney merchandise that they're selling not only at Disney World, but also just in every single retail store out there, on every single website out there. Star Wars merchandise is absolutely everywhere, and it's the biggest IP, it's the most recognizable IP in the entire universe. So it's still hard to believe, but I do have some reasoning why I think it might be true. Maybe all the hiring and firing of directors and actors, rewriting scripts, reshooting movies, and now to top it all off, the Gina Carano situation. And the Gina Carano situation isn't just losing Star Wars money, but it's losing Disney money as a whole. And that's what's ultimately forcing the Disney execs to hold Kathleen Kennedy accountable, because losing money on Star Wars is one thing. Maybe people have Star Wars fatigue. You can make up all these excuses that you want for Star Wars, but when the Disney brand starts losing money as a whole because of someone at Lucasfilm, then you have to start holding that person accountable. No matter how powerful, no matter how connected that person is, she has to be held accountable, and I think she finally is. Shout out to today's sponsor, WinXDVD. Don't be sad about the cancellation of Star Wars Celebration. WinXDVD software is holding a campaign so Star Wars fans can celebrate May 4th online. In this event, you can not only share Star Wars memories, but also get grand prizes. If you're interested in this, click the link in the description and participate in the lucky draw now. There's 3 different kinds of prizes, and you can get all of them by joining the activities. You can get a PS4 by submitting your Star Wars images to share the memories with others. You can win Star Wars Saga DVDs by taking a quiz to test your knowledge about Star Wars. And you can win Star Wars toys by joining the Facebook group and discussing Star Wars film news. Not only that, but WinXDVD also provides their top-rated product, WinXDVD Ripper, for free to all participants as the bonus. This software can convert any old or new DVD movies to MP4 videos for playback on PC, TV, iPhone, iPad, and other devices, regardless of disc scratches or rot. It brings you pleasant DVD movie playback experience and solves any annoying disc storage issues. May the prizes be with you. Enter the campaign to seize your chance. The link to all of this will be in the description. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Kathleen Kennedy will finally be fired? Do you think all of this stuff is true? Do you think Star Wars is actually losing money since the purchase? Do you think Star Wars really hasn't broken even yet? Because I'm not so sure that I believe that. I think the Star Wars movies have made enough. I think that they'll sell enough merchandise to break even by this point. But let me know in the comments if I'm dead wrong on that. I really don't know. If you want to support the channel, check out all of the new merch that I just dropped. The link to that will be in the description. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord, both of those links will be in the description as well. But thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.